You done?
No, wait, a sec.
Okay.
Okay, now we are good. All right. Good evening, everyone. I am Ogumo Abdul Martin, and with me here is my Yes. Okay. I am Ogumo Abdul Martin, and with me here is my co-host, Queen Esther. Wait.
Guys. Hi, good evening, everyone. Martin.
So, yeah.
Martin, kindly start the recording of the Zoom as soon as.
So with me is my co-host, Queen Esther, and also acknowledging this webinar is our tutors. Mr. Abdugani Ogunowo, who happens to be the lead tutor for taxation, and Mr. Wasiu Sani, who also happens to be the lead tutor for advanced taxation, and Mr. Ogundinro Olukunle, our tutor for advanced taxation. And today, our topic will be based on tips for acing the taxation and advanced taxation ICAN examination. So we'll be sharing insights on how to excel in advanced taxation and taxation. So we'd love to meet our tutors, and so they can introduce. So to them, Mr. Abdugani Ugunawo, are you there, sir?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Martin, please, can you record?
Is that feature not available? I thought you said.
I'm not a co-host.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, Mr. Abdugani Ugunawo.
Good evening. It's nice to be here. How are you doing?
Fine, sir. Queen, please, can you make yourself okay? Let me make you the host. I don't think. Okay, I'm recording already. Okay, and also Mr. Wasiu Sani, are you there, sir? Mr. Wasiu Sani, are you there? Okay, Mr. Ogundinro Olukunle, are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you today?
I'm good, sir.
Mm.
So, we'll be starting with our first question for the day, or for the night, rather. And I would love to direct this to the tutors available. And please, in 2 minutes, I would love if you could both discuss some common pitfalls that ICAN students will encounter during their exam preparations, and the guidance you can offer on how to steer or clear these challenges. So any one of you can come first, sir.
Okay. Sorry, once again, good evening. And the common pitfall we have seen, one is that for taxation, students find it difficult to understand the basis period. Okay, and for taxation, once you are not conversant with the basis period, okay, so it's just like you having a weak foundation. So whatever structure you are mounting on that foundation, will not have a value. So for taxation, if you don't get the basis period right, okay, so Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we
Yes,
can hear you.
Okay, sorry. The network is somehow bad here. It's raining. Okay, so as I was saying, another thing we've noticed is that a lot of students focus more on the computation aspect, of taxation. Meanwhile, it's important to also understand the the source, okay, or the theory part. So, for instance, now, if you want to understand the personal income tax, so you need to start from the meaning. You need to look at the classes of income that are taxable under the Personal Income Tax Act. So you need to know the types of person. Okay, so the types of person that are taxable under the Personal Income Tax. So these things are very important. So it's not just about having the Personal Income Tax table, then start applying the tax rates. So another thing we've also noticed is that, take for instance, on personal income tax, when students are computing, it says the first 300,000, use 7%, the next. So after students have gotten their taxable income or computed income, what they do is, if for instance the balance is 400,000 naira, okay, so they just apply 7% on the 400,000 naira. So instead of applying 7% on the first 300,000, then 11% on the excess, that is between the first 300,000 and the next 300,000. So these are some of the things we have seen. And again, we have seen students using, how do I call it? Okay, some rely on using mass attack approach. Okay, when it is like maybe 2 weeks to the exam or 3 weeks to the exam, so they start this, they start that. So thereby focusing only on the computation part and neglecting the theory part. So this is some of the pitfalls I have noticed. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mr. Abdulganiu Ogunowo. So yeah, moving on, the next question would be for Mr. Ogundiro Olukunle. I hope I got that right. So yes, okay. So the question is, okay, so many students battle test anxiety and stress. So how do you have any advice or strategies to help them overcome these obstacles?
Okay, thank you very much for having me tonight. Good evening, everyone. The major issue with anxiety is that, like my colleague has said, a lot of people start studying late. That's where the problem starts from. When you start studying late, you are likely going to be anxious. So, number one cure to that, managing anxiety, start as early as possible. November is just next tomorrow or next 3 days. That's what November is. So if you see it as that, you start preparation now. And by preparing now, you are likely going to understand the whole concept in its broad sense. That's one. Number two is you have to rest. I cannot overemphasize the place of rest in preparing for exam. I mean, if you don't rest, like I had a personal situation that when I was doing my own exam, that's ATS2, if my memory serves me right. In fact, I was vomiting the exam hall because a night before the exam, I was practically studying, and so when I was going to get to the exam hall, I was weak and I was having malaria, and so I just threw up, and that was the end of the story. So please try as much as possible to rest. Also, don't over assume that you know everything. I mean, even the topic that you think you are familiar with, still go back to that topic. It may surprise you to see that there are one or two things that you've not even seen in that topic. For instance, you might think you understand company income tax very well, and what you think you know is obsolete. So you must also understand the amendments that are made to those existing topics, the amendment that Finance Act is making to those topics, so that when you are getting to see the exam and you are seeing those kind of changes in the question, I mean, those questions are not just changing like film trick in your eye. So, like I said, just to reiterate, number one is prepare early, number two is rest, and number three, be more conversant with the topics and relevant changes that are made to each of the topics. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
you.
you. That was quite insightful. So yeah, so going forward, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
you.
Oh, okay, yes. So this question would be directed to Mr. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, since Wasu's not around, yes. So Abdul Ganiu Ogunowo. Yes. So our next question is, adapting teaching methods for students without an accounting or finance background can be very challenging. So how do they keep up a positive mindset?
Okay, Queen, thank you. So my surname is Ogunowo, not Ogunowo. So I understand. It's okay, no problem. So yes, it depends on the tutor, it's in himself or herself. Okay. So and that's one of the that's one of our strengths at IoT. Okay, how do I mean? Take for instance, for taxation, during class, we go beyond what we have in the study test or what we have in the material. Okay, so we go to the extent of using graphical illustration. Why? Because we don't want to assume that all students, okay, or all members of the class are accounting graduates. Okay, so we know we have students coming from the foundation level who probably have studied agroeconomics. We have people that have studied that studied maybe chemical engineering in school, and diversifying their profession to accounting. So you are not discussing chemical substance. So you are discussing accounting, which is not mathematics. So you have to go to the extent that you break things down, you explain to them. Some of them will ask that, no, I don't understand. So you have to explain another way so that they can understand what you are teaching them. And the bottom the objective is that we are teaching beyond what you want to, beyond your exam focus. So we're also teaching you what you can put to practice post exam. Okay, so at IoT, our tutors go beyond what we have in the ICAN study test, because you notice that if you are to read your study test alone, okay, you may either waste your time in understanding some of the terms that are used, or probably end up not understanding at all. So coming to class, we give you an added advantage. You have an opportunity to interact with the lecturer or the tutor, live, and also you have the opportunity of learning the basic. You have the opportunity of learning the basics. So as IoT, we give you all that it takes to pass ICAN. Thank you.
Thanks for that, sir. That was insightful. So, Mr. Wasil Sani. So this question is for itself. So Yeah, some students might feel overwhelmed if they haven't started preparing for this upcoming November diet. So I would ask, in your opinion, do you think they can still succeed given the limited time frame? Right there, sir. Hello.
Okay. The question is directed to me, I guess, Abi.
Yes, sir, Mr. Wasusani.
No, I'm not sure Mr. Wasi is online.
Okay. Mr. Olukunle. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So you can go on
Thank-
this, sir.
Okay.
Should I come again with the question?
Yes, please come again.
Okay. As regards newcomers to ICAN, I would ask, okay, if students are overwhelmed with that they haven't started preparing for this upcoming November diet. So I would ask, in your opinion, do you think they can still succeed given the limited time frame to their exam?
Yes, they can. It's not too late to get prepared for the exam. You still have the whole of September, October, and few weeks in November to prepare for the exam. So it's not too late. But I will advise that in preparing for the exam, especially for course like taxation, that has a lot of changes that is being made from probably when you were in school, when you did taxation at your undergraduate level. Because of those changes, you need to have somebody who is going to hold you by your hands. I mean, you need a lecture center who, for example, IoT, that will understand everything that has affected taxation, everything that has affected advanced taxation. So you need somebody who is going to assist you to scale through in your exam so that your effort will not be an effort in futility. But I mean, you have a lot more time to prepare. In less than 3-4 weeks, you can still do well in the exam, provided you have the right guidance to pass the exam. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that, sir. So yes, the next question would be directed to Mr. Sorry, can you see my? Yes, sorry about that. So the next question will be directed to Mr. Olukunle. Yes, sorry. So I'd like you to share some memorable experiences or the hurdles you faced during your ICAN journey and how you conquered these obstacles, and also what insights did you gain from them. This should be in 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Thank you for giving me a time frame, actually, because I mean, can be very funny. So I've shared one already. My first horrible experience was when I was writing one exam, and I mean, I spent all the night preparing for the exam, and only for my health to fail me in the exam. And one of the insights I got from that experience is, I mean, since then I've never ever, till I qualified, study a night before the exam. I'm not saying you should not study a night before the exam, but I mean, I sleep well. So please rest. That's one thing I want you to understand. Please, in fact, you need retentive memory to pass the exam, and you need a lot more calculative strength to pass the exam also. That's one. Number two is one of the issues people have is how to manage stress alongside passing exam. When I was writing my own exam, I was doing my internship, and you know, in Nigerian companies, if you are doing internship, you're like Muiwa, like they will send you around the company within a day. You have to work for, I mean, so you can understand how tedious that could be. But the beautiful thing is I've made sure that I don't sleep without opening my books. And that also helped me. So once the result is out, I start preparing for the next exam. So start early, that's one thing I learned from that experience too. So I started studying early for the exam. I mean, crash reading will not help. So those are those are the two memorable and exciting moments I had during my preparing for exams, and those are those I can share at the moment given the time frame. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that. Thank you, sir, for that. Mr. Abdugani, please, can you also share a moment or some of your experiences or challenges you had during your time with ICAN?
Okay, thank you. So just like my colleague has just said, it also happened to me when I was writing my professional exam. Then it was during my service year, and I was doing a lot of things at the same time. So writing student projects, writing projects for those that are in school, then also doing some side jobs. So it affected me such that on my SFM and then auditing exam day, okay, because what I did was to use a fire brigade approach. So what do I mean by fire brigade approach? So like I want to write 5 papers and I have 2 and 3 weeks to the exam to study. So I'm reading for case study. So for case study, I didn't bother myself because I know that it has to do with my prior knowledge and my present knowledge. I mean, the ICAN exams from skills, then final level. So see how I didn't pay more focus and more attention to it because I know these are things that we did in school, and I've also sat for the FR exam at skill level. I passed, so no problem. So my challenge now is on SFM. So I dedicated most of my time, to SFM. For audit, just like I assumed that I know audit now. It's something that while I was in school, my lowest score in audit is 70. So I'm not scared. But on the exam day, on that SFM and auditing day, I was so anxious. The level of anxiety in me is very high to the extent that during my SFM exam, the topics that I believe to have studied, just disappear from my brain. To the extent that I spent like an hour on just 15 marks question. So before I could, before I could get myself back, it's almost is an hour past. So then for auditing, my plan was to read within 30 or 1 hour, that break that we used to have after the exam. So to study my auditing, but I couldn't because I was so anxious. I was demoralized because of what happened to me during my SFM exam. So, and to go to the best of my, I failed auditing. Okay, I failed auditing, the audit and assurance, advanced audit and assurance. I failed it. So, and since then, I've learned my lesson that when you're writing an exam, you don't use a fire brigade approach. You don't sit down and say you want to use mass attack. You want to do like 4 or 5 things at the same time. You have 2 weeks to the exam and you're writing 5 papers. So you start your preparation on for instance now, this if you are yet to register for this direct exam, it's never too late. You can register today, but just know that you have to dedicate a lot of time and don't just focus on one course. Don't say that you are good in this, you are good in that. While you are in school, you are the best student in this subjects or course when you are in school. Don't say that. Don't assume. You just have to assume zero knowledge. So with that, you'll be able to skip through the orders of ICAN, of passing ICAN exam. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, sir. So at this point, we would entertain some questions. So if you have any questions, kindly raise your hands and you would be brought up to speak. Thank you.
So it is like this advanced taxation and taxation It's a simple, it's a simple exam. So no one, there's no one with we don't have anyone with questions. So okay, like no waste is your hand. Okay, no, you can unmute yourself here.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, my question is this taxation, like the man that just finished speaking, I don't know his name. He said,
Mr. Abduganu. Yeah.
okay, Mr. Abdugani, thank you. He said that the knowledge of taxation that probably we had in school might have changed and it's not applicable. And somebody mentioned that if you have the whole of September and October to rehearse, to get prepared for the exam. Now, my question is for someone like me that is writing 5 papers, the 5 papers, how do I balance studying for each course? Because it's really a challenge. Because you want to read this one, you want to study this, and I just have to meet up with everything, and then with the fact that I have to go to work and come back. Most of the time, it's not balancing. So are there tips or are there specific topics or something that can just focus on? Because I'm not going to lie, it's going to be hard to study past question from different years for 5 courses. Somebody is at the verge of going crazy. So I just need, I don't know, just something, ideas or something. Thank you.
Mr. Abdugani, that's for you. That question is for you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So it's possible. Okay, so let me just take it from where you stop. That given the fact that you have 5 papers to write, you can't just study the Pathfinder questions for the 5 courses within this time period. We have 5 days and 5 working days in a week. So you have your classes on Saturdays and Sundays. So you can prepare a timetable. So remember, you have to plan for your success. So you prepare a timetable, have it at the back of your mind that your goal is to pass this ICAN exam. So you are setting a goal. So you set your goal, you set your objectives. So what are your objectives? You want to pass the 5 exam and the 5 papers at one seat. So now, how do I achieve my goal, or how do I achieve these set objectives? What to do is have a timetable. On Monday, I want to do taxation. I don't know if you are in skill level or professional level. So today is for taxation, tomorrow is for FR, next tomorrow is for CSME, then Thursday is for public sector, and then Friday is for PM. Okay. So you can structure it in such a way that, okay, okay, so you have to just, the pain is just once. Okay, so after you have measure your performance. So on Sunday or Saturday, after class, immediately after class, if you have your break period within that 30 minutes, pick up a Pathfinder question. Look and learn your tutor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Chinda God's time. Okay, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes. My question is, if somebody is doing 3 courses, hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Chida.
Go ahead.
If somebody is doing 3 courses, for the person to like do the next, that is for the person to do the next 2 in the next diet. And what is the best combination of courses the person can offer? Hello?
Hello.
Did you get my question?
You. Please, can you come again?
I said, if somebody wants to offer 3 courses, what is the best combination of the course the person can do, the best combination? Then, if you do 3 this diet, must you do the next 2 in the next diet, or you can do it any other time?
Okay, I'll take up on the second question. So
Okay.
you can write the first 3 now and write the other 2 papers any other diet. It doesn't necessarily have to be the following diets. So if you're writing 3 in November, you don't need to write the remaining 2 in May. You can move it to whenever it's convenient for you.
Okay, thank you. What about the best combination of courses one can do? It depends on individual.
Yes, it depends on the individual. If you can go with calculation, if you are fine with calculation courses, then it's fine to do that, or non-calculation courses. But basically, it's fine to mix them. I mean, you have both the calculations and also the non-calculations courses, so that you'll be able to balance.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome, ma.
Right. Do we still have anyone with questions? Okay, that's the case. Then I think we should take one more question from our hand before we call it a night. Mr. Ogunowo, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am here.
I'm sorry about that pronunciation. So I have one more question
No
for you,
problem.
sir. I have one more question
Okay,
for you,
sir.
sir. My question is, okay. We all know that ICAN exams are known for their intensity. So, can you reveal any strategies or rituals you followed on your exam days to stay composed and focused?
Okay, so that may be unique to individual students, but for myself, okay, so my approach to study has been to read alone, okay, but after reading alone or after studying alone, I discuss in group, okay, just to corroborate my understanding with someone else. Then on the exam day, so my focus is to start with those questions that I know I am comfortable with. Those topics that I have a better understanding of. So I don't advise students to start with a compulsory question. Okay, because at times those compulsory questions they are like a trap, set for students. If you evaluate your marks, so the compulsory question has just 30 marks. Then your section B, which comprises of 3 questions, has 20 marks each. Then your section C, which comprises of 3 questions as well, has 15 marks each. So the addition of these 2 sections, if you do 2 in section B, 2 in section C, you have 70. So if I'm comfortable answering one question in section B, like I'm fine, then I have, let's say, 15 marks. Then the other question, I'm not, so much confident, and maybe with my rating, I have like 8 marks. So already in my section B, I have 23 marks. Then in my section C, I'm confident in one. I know I rate myself 12 marks. Then in the other one, I'm not that confident. I give myself 8 marks. So I have 20 already. So 20 plus 23, I have 43 already from section C and section B. Then for my compulsory question, okay, so even if at all, I am not that confident in answering or attempting the question 1, which is the compulsory question, out of 30 marks, at least if I have studied hard or if I have followed my study plan, I should have at least 8 marks, or 10, okay, from my section A. So if I had 10 to my 43, then I have 53. So this is for someone who is not aiming at having highest score or having best students in that particular course or overall best students. But if you are planning to have, or you are aiming to have to be the overall best student, then it means you have to set your goal high. So in that case, your focus will be to learn almost 80 to 90% of your study pack. So on the exam day, you start with those ones that you are confident of, then you move to based on the grading. Okay, so that's my approach to the exam, and it has, it helped me while I was writing my ICAN exam and some other exams. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, Queen.
Okay, yes, yeah. On a final note, this question would be directed to Mr. Olukunle. Yes. We've heard so much about tutors, so we're just going to have to ask this final question. So what study material or resources proved most valuable throughout your ICAN journey? Kindly share in a few minutes. Thank you, sir.
All right. First is I have to be sincere with you. I attended lectures, and what my lecturer is giving me, they are giving me everything from experience. And one thing is, I trusted them so much, and the trust is paying off. I mean, the trust paid off. So the material they gave me was one thing that I was relying on solely, and it was helping me. I mean, it helped me to scale through. The second thing is I studied past question, and I knew from the study of past question, personally, there are some topics that are of more importance than the other. I'm not downplaying other topics. Try to get me, but if you are the type that study past question, you will know that if a topic is coming frequently, like 3-4 times in 6 diets, I mean, there's likely that you should study that hard. And also, there are some topics that they've not even tested in a while. Also, you should be able to put your permutation around that this might be the first time they are going to be testing that topic. You understand? So that
Yes.
also helped me. So Pathfinder was one thing, like it's mapped a very good path for me in scaling through my exam. And also I was able to get support from ICAN study pack. So those are basically the materials I used, and I mean, they helped me in scaling through my exams.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. Thank you so much. So we have one more question here on YouTube from Yeah, from George Christmood, and he says, "What calculations topic should one know very well for taxation in the skills level?" So this is for the taxation tutor, Mr. Sorry,
They are
Abdul
both taxation
Ghani.
tutors.
Yeah. No, like taxation. This is advanced taxation and
Okay.
taxation. So
Taxation.
he said the skill
Okay.
level. The question, can I take the question again? Sorry. He says, what calculations topics should one know very well for the taxation in skill level?
Okay. So I'm not sure I can say go and study this, because by saying that I am what I am restricting you to just one topic. Okay, but there are topics that you should, focus on, or you should at least have an average understanding of. One is your basis period. The determination of basis period is very, very key in taxation for any computation that you want to do. Okay, so if you don't understand the determination of basis period at the skill level, probably maybe you passed your exam based on the theoretical aspect of the taxation that you know. When you get to the professional level, you will find it difficult, because at that level, the tutors are not expected to go, to go to that basic level of teaching you the basis period and the like. Okay, so your basis period, you have to understand it. Determination of accessible profit, those allowable and non-allowable expenses, you have to know them. So if you have mastered this, you have understood, you have mastered the personal income tax. You have also mastered the company's income tax, because these two, they are income taxes. Okay, so another thing is you have to learn your value added tax. You have to understand your chapter one, chapter two, and up to chapter four. Okay, so these chapters are basically talking about taxation, the tax administration in Nigeria. They're also talking about the objection and appeal procedure in Nigeria. They're also talking about the assessment and collection procedure in Nigeria. So you have to understand this, because these topics are often tested by ICAN. Okay. Also, you have to understand the contemporary issues in the in the tax industry. So these are the things that you need to understand. But I won't say that you should stop. You should just focus on one topic. So there are topics. So in your syllabus, you have about 20 something topics. Okay. So you have about 20 something topics. So at least an average student should study 15 topics at minimum. Okay, an average student that is looking at passing ICAN exam should study 15 topics at minimum. So, and your exam is mostly 50-50, 50% theory, 50% calculation at minimum. Thank you.
Okay, sir, thank you so much. So we have a question here from Prince Charles Adeni. Kindly go ahead with your question, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'm asking this question because of the response that Mr. Abduganu gave during his last talk, not just this one, the other one. For someone like me, this is my first diet for ICAN. And I mean, I had a lot of shocks when I began to know some of the things that ICAN or how regarding the ICAN exam, for instance, that there is no objective question. I was really very shocked because I've also done other professional and accounting exams where they were part of the questions that were objective. So are there, my first question is, are there other maybe I would like to say, are there things that new people coming to do ICAN for the first time actually know? For instance, the use of calculator is, I mean, because I personally have tried to find this information online and I don't think I can find it. Is there a type of calculator to use? I also know that, or I've also heard that the exam is not CBT based. So I'm also very shocked because I've done one ICAN that is something exam that is CBT. So I mean, so that you can give us some basis to know, so that we don't get to the examination get short. That is my first question. Second question is, for instance, for taxation, there are definitions that there are 4 lines, for instance, and the way they are written law-like. Now, when you are required to define or to answer such questions, it's compulsory that you must give it word for word, or you can coin those words, that response in your own words.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you,
Yes,
sir.
we can hear you, sir. I think we lost him because he's no longer here. I think his network kicked him out.
Okay.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. You are done with your question.
Yes, I'm here. I asked. Did my
We
network
didn't hear. No, we didn't hear you.
go?
Sorry about that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me just recap. My first question is to the center. My first question was asking what are the other shocks that we might likely get. For instance, I know that the exam is not CBT based. The use of calculator, maybe invigilation time, and then also that there is no objective questions. Are there other criteria, other things that distinguishes ICAN from other type of professional exams? There are some of these information that are not readily available online. That is what I'm saying. If you can give us access, clue into such things. That is my first question. Can you still hear me, please?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I got that.
My second question is to directly to Mr. Abdulganiu, is that there are some in taxation, for instance, whereby the way they are written is law-like. You know what I mean? Law-like, I mean the terminologies that are used. So when you are asked to give such definitions, or for instance, in the examination, are you required to answer it word for word? Do you need to, give it, or you can answer such questions in your own words, language, and try as much as possible to mean the same thing?
Okay, so admin, would you like to take the first question first before I respond to the second question?
Are you there? Okay, Mr. Aguno, Mr. Abdulgani, you can go on with the second question.
Okay. So, Prince, so during our time, I know you have to go to the center with your calculator, but it's like there was a time I had that I did not provide students with calculator, but I'm not sure of that. Okay, but to be on the safer side, it's good to go to the exam with your own calculator. Okay, but wristwatch are no longer accepted. Okay, so but for calculator, I think you should go with it, and if you'll be provided with that, at the center, fine. Then, as regards the terminology, terms that are being used in taxation, those terms are germane for you to pass your exam. However, you are not required to define them word for word. Like, the way you have them in your study test. Okay, so, but there are some that there is no way you want to define them. If some key wordings, okay, if some wordings are missing, then you are likely not to get it right. Okay, so for instance now, you are asked to distinguish between withholding tax and then value-added tax. You have to distinguish between withholding tax and value-added tax. So you saying that withholding tax is is a form of tax that is being paid by the and that is deducted from payment from the vendor and payment to the vendor, okay, is not detailed enough. You can't tell me that withholding tax is a type of tax or is a form of tax that is paid by the vendor, okay, and the value-added tax is a type of tax that is paid by the customer. No, I won't accept that. So you need to tell me that withholding tax is an advance payment of tax that is being deducted, from payment being made to an individual at source or to a company. For instance, deduction of payments made to vendor for supply of so and so. That, for instance, is not part of what was defined in the tax law. Withholding tax is what is defined as what as an advance payment of what of income tax. Withholding tax is defined as an advance payment of what of income tax. That's the definition. Okay, but in your wording, in your definition, if you mention that withholding tax is an advance payment of tax that is deducted, at source from the payment made to so and so. At least I've seen some keywords like advance payment of tax deducted at source. Do you understand that? Then for value-added tax, if you can tell me that value-added tax is a form of tax or is a type of tax that is levied on consumption of goods and services, that is levied on consumption of goods and services, the burden of which is borne by the final consumer. I've seen some keywords there. Okay, is a type of consumption tax. Okay, that is paid by who? That is paid by the final consumer on consumption of what? On consumption of goods and services. Do you understand? So those wordings, those terms that are key in the definition of this on a particular concept, if found missing in your definition, may score you down. Like, I'm not saying that you will score 0. Okay, so you can score 1/5, but that's not sufficient. That's not the type of score we are expecting. So we want to see 4/5. We want to see 5/5. And to the glory of God, last Student we produce our best student, in our center. I think the student got scored like maybe 95 or 94 in a particular course. Okay, so that's just to show you that it depends on the goal, it depends on your target, it depends on what you are aiming at. Okay, but do not run away from those terminologies as they are key to you understanding or passing your exam successfully. And it even goes beyond your ICAN exam, even in practice. Okay, those things are very, very key. When you speak about those things, when you mention them, people see you as a professional. People see you as a competent individual in your field. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abdugani. So, if you have any more questions, you will need to direct it to our customer service web CSR. So, Mr. Prince, that your first question, please can you come again? We didn't get that. It was not, you were not lucid with that. So please can you come again with your first question?
Okay, so the question was that there are some requirements regarding ICAN that somehow they are not, can't find them easily on the net when you go Google. So sometimes you have to ask other colleagues who have written this exam before. For instance, I had to ask somebody what type of calculator they use in the exam. In fact, I had to ask, is this CBT based or it's written? In fact, I just knew that you actually have to write the exam on the script. So I was shocked because I thought it was CBT based. And also, well, there are just some of these requirements that maybe make ICAN different, that maybe new students like us should be aware of. So if you can just give us an insight into that, maybe not now, maybe it's just to maybe send it to the group, for instance, and just like some of the things that we take note of. For instance, Mr. Abigani already talked about the use of calculator and even the use of this one. Some of these things are not even well stated, so you can see them, for instance. And also talk about, I didn't also know about the objective questions. I mean, I thought that was part of it before.
Mr. Prince, you're in what stage?
Skills. Like I said,
You're in skills.
skills.
Okay, I think you need to reach out to our customer service for these questions. Do you get that? So they will keep you posted on your handsets. So you can reach out to us on 07044576011 or 0811086896. So for more questions, because I think we spent more time than our usual time. So sorry about that, sir. So you will need to reach out to our CSR. You get, sir? Hello?
I hear you. Thank you.
Okay. You need to reach out to us. All right. Thank you, sir. So, Queen, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry. We have one question as well from YouTube, and this is from Esther Olawi. She said that, please, is it possible to pass taxation at the ATS3 level if you are just starting to prepare now? So our taxation tutor, please take on that. Thank you.
Okay. So it depends on what you are doing presently. Okay. I mean, if you are not working, like from morning to night, you own your time. Okay. It is possible. Okay. At least we have like 3 weeks or 2 weeks before the exam. But the approach you can use now is not to start studying yourself. Okay. So you need a rigorous learning. Okay. You need an intensive class. By, maybe you study yourself 8 hours, then you do 4 hours learning, you do 2 hours revision. So, you want to use a fire brigade approach. And it is very, it's not, medically, it is not advisable. But if you know that you can run the marathon, yeah, there's nothing impossible, rather. So it depends on your time, how you schedule the available resources that you have to achieve the goal. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, sir. Thank you to all our tutors who participated in today's webinar. Thank you so much. We would like to draw the curtain at this moment, and because we have classes tomorrow. So if you have any question and you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach out to any of our customer support with this number 07044576011 or 0811086896.
Just Google
896. We've dropped this on our chat, so you can reach out to us and we would be ready to attend to every of your questions. Thank you so much for all our participants. Thank you for your time. We hope to see you again in another webinar. Do have a wonderful night rest, and don't forget classes tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you everyone for having me.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.